Good morning YouTube, we just finished a 3-week block of training. Today's my rest day. We got tons of questions from you guys from Q&A. Let's get into them and I'll try the best to answer them. Let's go. Alright guys, I found a nice spot for us today for the Q&A. It is icy cold air, but we are nicely packed in. Let's get to your questions. So first question from Sibo3921. You said you have 10 years of endurance in you. What were you doing? You went in a swimming race. What would you do? A marathon or bike race at some stage? Is there a lot of historical emphasis on Finland or winter war as a source of national pride? The last one is very deep. I might not go into that one. I'll not finish. So, but here, 10 years endurance. What was I doing? So when I was growing up, I always did some sports, like many did. I did windsurfing, snowboarding. But from a young age, I think I started with 5, 6. I did judo for a couple of years. Then I also went later into other martial arts sports, karate, taekwondo, and also MMA later. But I did 8 years of handball, so that's what I did for a long time as well. But outside of that, I was always enjoying running in the forest, not really training, just running, no particular stuff like that. But then my first triathlon, I think a sprint, I did even in 2007, but then I dropped it. And it was just like a fun thing with friends. And after that, we went, my first half was actually 4 hours 45 in Cologne triathlon. I think that was 2011. And then I said to my wife back then, we were just in the Netherlands studying, my current wife, Virpi, I met her back then. And she said, hey, why don't you, because I told her, one day I'm going to do an Ironman. I was that guy, you know, not much belief or anything like that. One day I'm going to do an Ironman. And just one question changed everything. That's why your environment and your circle changes everything. She said, why don't you do it next year? Ooh, the seed was planted. And then I did my first full Ironman, 11 hours flat. I think I missed 10:59 by 40 seconds. Ironman Zurich back then, 2012. Trained on my own for it, no coach, no nothing. And blew up quite a bit in the run, but I had an amazing time, loved it. And yeah, never looked back. And that was my passion. And I knew ever since I arrived at that finish line, I was like, I love this sport. I'm never gonna quit this one. So then next question from Ben Hardy 8389. How difficult is it to be a pro from a financial point of view? Other than prize money, how do you make money? So just some facts. I haven't made 1 cent from pro triathlon yet. No prize money. Prize money is at 0. Because I didn't have the results, obviously. Outside of that, there is no money from triathlon coming in. What I did, I changed my point, because I'm a trained physiotherapist, which is a one-to-one business, has an appointment, a certain time and all that. I have to be at a certain place. That obviously doesn't work with pro sports, and that would boycott my sports journey. So I changed it completely away from that to online business. So I have something I do online, 2 or 3 income sources that I do online, so I'm flexible. I can do it wherever I am in the world, and there are many ways to go into that. I mean, you can look online on TikTok or wherever. These days it is very simple to make a living online. You just have to look around. So that's what I'm doing. Here, next question. How do you handle any discomforts in running? Mr. Saneforce, especially shin splints. Thanks for your content, very inspiring. Thank you for watching. Shin splints, I, to be honest, never had that, but I had a lot of patients that had it. And what it basically is, there's several ways of shin splints. It can be the inside, outside of the legs. But what I do to prevent it, first I do massage, but I do it twice a week, self-massage. So I go to massage, but also have self-massage. And what I do in a self-massage, I use olive oil. I really go deep along the bones. You want to break the fascia. It hurts like hell. You want to break the fascia and the tissue off the bone. You don't want that to stick together too much, the muscle and all that stuff. So you need to keep that loose yourself. There's no excuse, you can really do it super easy yourself. So that's one thing I'm constantly checking in twice a week. I go deep in, also the outside, the frontier, the tibialis anterior muscle, that one I loosen up nicely. And the inside with the thumb along the bone, that line, it's not comfortable, but if you keep it loose, you will have no issues. But if you run a lot, and especially on tarmac, it will get tight. So that's what I do for it, so I don't get it. And I check in frequently. So here, then we got LM22069. How do you handle the pressure of performing in the races from a financial point of view? Is there a point in the future where you have to get financially rewarded from sponsors or have to lock in prize money because your bank account wouldn't allow any other than a pro season without income? You're not dumb and you come from business, so I know you have a plan in mind. I do have a plan in mind. And so first of all, I'm not doing professional triathlon to make money. I think if you do something, can be even other things, to make money, that is not the right approach. That is really not. So for example, even when I went before, when I was a physiotherapist or in business, it wasn't, or even business, it wasn't the goal of how to make the most money. Then you go to stocks or whatever. I was like, how do I build the absolute best sport physiotherapist clinic that the people, the employees love to work there, that the patients have the best experience? I focused on that. And from that came massive growth. Same of, hey, I'm not looking for how do I get the most paid as a physiotherapist. I was looking, how can I be the absolute best sport physiotherapist that any patient ever encountered? I was thinking like that. What do I have to deliver? What do I have to know? And then I went into that. So now it's the same. I'm focusing on my craft. I'm focusing on how can I be the absolute best triathlete with the best swim thresholds, best 200 meter, 400 meter time from everybody, if possible. That's going to be hard in swimming, but at least in the top 3 from everybody on the start line, I got the best with three other guys, 200 meter time, 400 meter time, 1500 meter time in the pool, for example. Bike thresholds the same, watt per kilogram, run thresholds the same. So like when you focus on your craft and focus on those things and perfectionizing your art, money will come. Money is a side product of that. So it's like if you're excellent in your craft, that might be really good at carving wood out, making tables. If you're excellent at making wood out, carving tables, and you perfect that craft, money will find you. So I'm also not relying on prize money. I see prize money in the future. Again, this whole money thing, I think there are other questions and very interesting. 100% with it. Everybody needs money to survive. But what's important to say is, first of all, I have absolutely zero experience and clues. I'm not going to talk about as I would know. I never received 1 cent from pro racing. I'm sure it's an incentive eventually if you have some big money. Maybe the last 10 kilometers in a race is like, if I get this guy, I get 20 grand more. But to be honest, I'm really not motivated by money. I went a bit down this money path. I experienced some things with money and it changes nothing. I think unless you experience that money in your bank account changes really nothing about your happiness state. You might still chase it. They say everybody knows money doesn't make you happy. Still everybody wants to find out for themselves. That is true. I found out, it doesn't make me happy, but you need to pay rent, bills, all those things. But I want to build a system that I'm not reliant on those things. Prize money will be on top. Same as other things should be on top. Right now, you know, I'm surviving. I have to cut on things, but like everything I always wanted and need for pro triathlon, I can do right now. I got all the time. That was my goal. You first step 1 for pro triathlon, you need all the time in the world to train and recover. Roger that, did that. You need some kind of income sources and training environment that allows optimal triathlon training. All right, got that. Sure, I got only a lot of indoor riding, but to be honest, for training, indoor riding beats outdoor. So for bike handling, sure not. That's why I now go to Nice. So I got the bike handling skills before the first race, learning from last year Oceanside when I came from here and went straight on the road and couldn't handle a bike for shit. But that's that from the money side. We can go later into it. Then here, Sparto91. What's your best advice for improving triathlon bike fitness? Obviously, that's a very open question, but let's give it a best shot at answering. I would say do 3 rides a week. One where you push a bit your upper limits. When you're further away from a race, you can do some VO2 stuff, some high intensity stuff, further off your second threshold. And when you get closer to the race, you do more threshold work, so closer to your FTP or whatever in that range. If you're a bit over, under, that's okay, that's not the last detail right now you need. And outside of that, aerobic riding, but like if you ride 3 times a week, there's not much worth for riding zone 1. You need to keep some pressure on the pedals. You need to be at this 65-75% of FTP, which is not easy work, so especially 75. You're going to be working. But if you do an hour of that, that's still a great stimulus. And one long ride where you could be in the beginning 2.5 hours. But again, keep this pressure of like, you're not spinning around there. You need to be with working, but you need to be in the aerobic heart rate. So yeah, maybe those 3. Very simple, but so open question, simple answer. Let's keep it for that. Then Alexis Papaconst 05 asked, do you track your kilocalories or do you just eat by feel? And if yes, how do you know you're eating enough through the day? So with nutrition and diet, I have a long road behind me because I came into this sport always as a very muscular and also heavier side guy. Right, when I started, I was around the 78 kilograms, 79 mark. But even then in my brain, I was still thinking I was too heavy. And then I went down as first, I tried 3 nutritionists, also with, the best recommendations from sports and all of them. And I followed everything they said, ate everything exactly. With all 3 of them, after 3 weeks, I imploded. I lost weight very quickly. So it's very important with this whole weight debate that unless you're counting calories, everything that goes in, measure it. Then if you're counting calories, there's one thing, you see the scale going down. If you're training for something, it's not your goal. If your number 1 goal is lose weight, sure, do what you gotta do. But if you wanna train and perform and lose weight, which is absolute yellow to red flag, I wouldn't recommend to anybody. I now went down this path and it took a lot of tinkering, a lot of experience from messing it up before. And still then it was difficult. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. But I know where I want to go. If I don't weigh 78, 79 in Kona in the heat, I will not run a 2:30 marathon there. So there's a couple of rules. Same for hills, for watt per kilogram. There's a couple of rules that are just, there are no weight classes in triathlon, but there are. If you're 85 and the other guy is 75 and has the same FTP as you, well, you're in trouble. Especially in running, you can't run around with a 10 kilogram backpack, which I did before. I was 85 kilograms. So unless you eat by feel, no, not really. I measure everything, but I also measure it against objective things like, okay, this is the number on the scale. How's my recovery? How's my performance? Did I at all feel like, for example, I was lacking glycogen in the bike ride, the key sessions? If that is the case, my diet is failing. Like never can the diet scenario, which I'm now anyways a bit out of, can interfere with performance. Performance recovery has to be one, and that needs constant reflecting and is very difficult to be objective. So yeah, that's that. Then here we got Chance 123575. What key thing do you wish you would have known much earlier in your triathlon career? The main thing that comes to mind is, I wish I had the blueprint of how to train and recover like I do right now. To be honest, since 2017 I've been trying coaches and all this. That was my main thing. I had this gut feeling, you can be really, really good at this. And I tried the best I could to find people, experts, and execute the best I can, but it's very difficult. There's many approaches out there, and you gotta find for yourself for training. How can you stay consistent and train enough volume and quality consistently? I don't mean 4 weeks. 4 weeks is not consistent. I mean a minimum of 6 months straight. That is, let's say 3 months, everything under 3 months, if you're not nailing every session, you're not consistent. So 3 months is baby steps. 6 months, we're getting somewhere. 12 months, now we're loading. And so forth. So that's the only way we get anywhere. So I wish I'd known how to train and recover like I do now. So trust me, and I looked for, now it's 2025. Since 2017 I looked, I'm not kidding. And I tried everything. I tried best of my knowledge and committed to coaches 1.5 years. And yeah, I'm not saying this is all the coach's fault, partly, but just as much mine, because I was also playing with diet, Then the business came, I slept 6 hours, trained until 12 p.m. to get the nutrition in, didn't prioritize sleep, so it's not always, it's never one's fault. It was 50-50 easy. Then again, Chance, same question. Do you take creatine, beta-alanine or bicarb? What is the reasoning? No, creatine. If I touch creatine, I will be 90 kilos full of muscle in 3 months. I would, for endurance athletes, I think, especially for aging ones, I think could be a good thing. I'm not a specialist on this, so I really wouldn't recommend anything like that, but I will never ever touch it. So I have to be, even with protein intake, I'm at 1.5. Normally recommended for endurance athletes is 2 grams per kilogram body weight. Also on that front, so I'm not building muscle like a horse. I'm at 1.5 and I recover well. Beta-alanine, yes, I did. I took it for 30 days straight from Umara. Beta-alanine, and now I just take a recap every Monday, 5 grams every Monday. Bicarb, yes, experienced with it. 2 times I took it, to be honest. I didn't get performance, I just felt a bit sluggish, and even the whole next day didn't feel so good. But I have to do more testing with it, but you can easily compromise the key session with it, so I have kind of put it a bit on standby right now, because it is a 1%er, right? Because even if you take it and get the benefit, you get like a 1% improvement or so, which for 800 meter race is a lot. But if you do, let's say threshold, if you do 440, and then with bicarb you do 440, 450 watts or something, I don't know. But your body has to clear 6,000 milligrams of sodium or something, which is a lot of salt. I don't know. It's tricky. It's not all plus, but for sure works. How do you manage life stuff with your partner since there isn't a normal work schedule with bank holidays or weekends off? Yeah, that's a very good question. That was actually pretty tricky, and it still is. When that's why I kind of go a bit with her as well. I kind of feel excited when it's weekend time for her. She has like Friday evening, and it's weekend for her, and Mondays again work, so she gets more tense. I try to go a bit with that, because I mean my weekend is not Saturday, Sunday. I still have the sessions, but I do it a bit like that. So like on the Friday evening, I kind of go with her in this weekend vibe. We just have, I don't know, get some candy from the shop or small things like that, and just go with her there. But yeah, it's still tricky sometimes when she has, of course, the weekend, it's relaxed and wants to do stuff, and I would love to do stuff with her, obviously. And yeah, there are a lot of sacrifices, so I'm very aware of not seeing family, not going to a wedding from friends. There's a lot of sacrifices, and I know if I don't take them, I don't get a shot. Because if you listen to anybody of the greats, anybody, Eliud Kipchoge, all of them, there's one pattern: more sacrifice, more chance of success and results. Sure, there gotta be happiness. I got plenty of happiness, but I'm taking a lot of sacrifices, not just leaving a job and all. That was starting sacrifices. The sacrifices I take are every single day, and they're gonna be more coming, and they hurt you. Trust me, they hurt, because you want to see family and friends, you want to do those things, but they don't go align with this number one goal. So yeah, sacrifices. Dominic Meyer 3894. And do you have full race schedule for the season, or are you only doing Nice? Yeah, I wish I was doing Nice. It's not confirmed yet. That's the World Champs, by the way. That's the main goal. So I only have 2 races locked in so far, because it changes eventually after the second one. So the first one is 4th of May, IRONMAN 70.3 Pro Series in Venice, Jesolo. It's the first real high caliber European race. It's gonna be again 80 of the best guys. I'm very excited for that. That is 4th of May, half distance, so it takes around 4 hours. And then mid-June, we got Ironman Austria as my main race, my main first full Ironman. And there the goal is to qualify for the World Champs later in the year. I'll do my absolute best to prepare and execute that goal. And then after the race, we will see which way we go. Then here, Paolo Rapino 4855. Sorry if I butchered the name, wasn't my plan. Sounds Italian. Hi Matti, when will you start to incorporate some brick run workouts? Thanks for the question. I already do. I do 2 run off the bikes year round. So every single week I did it for the last year. So I train my structures and all this in that. Maybe you mean hard runs off the bike that I haven't done, that's true. They will probably come in April, June time, maybe. That's 100%, not 100% confirmed yet. I did that before, but yeah, even Alistair Brownlee and all, there are some that never did it. So there are theories on brick runs, on running hard off the bike, let's say. But you do it in a race, so you probably want to know what it feels like. Then here, next question, Niels de Witt, 3780. Hey Matti, thanks a lot for your content. I really enjoy the train your mind part of it. Quick question, why do you choose the 3 weeks on, 1 week off training plan? We see a lot of variance these days. I personally go by feel, build my chronic training load, CTL, by increasing volume and intensity for a few weeks. Whenever I feel too tired to execute a session, I go easy for a few days. What's your take on this topic? Yeah, really interesting. I talked actually with Craig Alexander about this when I reached out to him for some mentor tips. And he basically summarized this whole topic of training, because you see with coaches, other pros, all of it, there's many ways to go from A to B, nothing's set in stone. But basically the simplest answer, he summarized it really well, a very knowledgeable guy. He said, whatever, as long as you train your volume and quality consistently, however you do that in a weekly scale, if it's 5 days training, 2 days off, however you do it, as long as you can do it consistent, that might be like I have right now, or like how you do it by feel, like Chris McCormack did it exactly like you're doing, Niels. He did it like that when he got too tired. He had actually, I just read his book again, Chris McCormack is several times world champion. He had it, for example, like this, that, okay, I have 1 key session a day, and around the sessions are not so important. So if he felt tired after the key sessions, he would alter the sessions around the kind of the volume filters, depending on his fatigue. Same as you do with the when I feel tired and all. The reason I don't do this, because I don't trust. I'm very good at adjusting, let's say. That's maybe a bit too harsh on myself. Even now I still adjust and make those calls, as you guys know, when something is. But to be honest, when it comes down to it, I don't trust my ego. I'm very competitive. I have a very big ego. My ego will tell me all kinds of stories. I don't trust my ego to, especially let's say when you get better and you're close to it, you want to beat one guy, or you want to, whatever the ego fabricates it wants to do. I don't trust myself to say then suddenly, yeah, let's just take it easy now. When I take it easy, I'm probably most likely already broken. So it's already too late. So I need a system. That's why for me 3-1 works very well right now. This is the focus. I do everything I can, the highest possible quality, and then easy is a kind of a safety mechanism for consistency. Works for me. I did this, what you're doing before. Oh, let's just adjust when you're tired. But once the training plan is set, I'm not going to stop. You're not going to see me stop. I'm going to continue. I'm going to dig myself a nice hole. And same as you, at some point it's going to backfire. I'm sorry, because you can't trust your feeling. You just cannot. Once you're emotionally compromised, once you get so fatigued, you can't make a rational decision. When you're really tired, you don't make rational decisions. Nothing good. So it's definitely can work, but it can definitely, for most people, I would say, most athletes, it will backfire earlier or later with either injury or sickness. Here, Filippo Trovic 983. What do you think about the 5, 6, 7 hard days in a week? Similar to what cyclists, athletes do, MVP, blah, blah, blah. Great serial review. Again, I think that goes into the same training style. I believe you talk about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 hard days. I think other people do 3 days hard, 1 day easy. Again, I don't think it matters. As long as you consistently, in let's say a monthly scale or a weekly scale, you get your rest, you get your key session, you get your volume, however you do that, it's really irrelevant. Your body doesn't know. As long as it fits your life, your pattern, your mentality, what you know about yourself, you gotta have all those things. Like I said, for me, 3-1, I will keep going. I will not stop. So I know that about myself. So that's why we have to almost a safety net in. And it worked perfectly so far. I can push a bit, and anyways. So I'm sure it works. Again, however you build it, I don't think there's a plan that's set. As long as you get quality, volume, rest ratio correct, and you only know correct if you went the last 3 months straight without interruption. That gives you indications. If you have been sick, most likely it was too much. If you have been injured orthopedically, something isn't right. So those are the 2 obvious ones you got to check for. Dominic Meyer, how do you manage to eat healthy but limit gut problems? With healthy, I mean a balanced diet of whole grains, vegetables, lean fruits. I struggle with long runs or hard interval running sessions in the afternoon. Do you limit, exclude fiber in those days? By the way, I love your videos. You remind me of the first Lionel Sanders blogs, which I really miss. Just a raw footage of someone training hard day by day. Thanks a lot, really appreciate it. Yeah, I love those early Lionel Sanders ones as well. And also the blogs, they're fantastic. I also read them a lot, really, really good. Thank you. To be honest, my gut is pretty good, so I can't say I had too many problems with that. I eat very clean, so that probably helps. I just cut also. Oh, that's not true actually. I'm sensitive to sugar, very, very sensitive. Also like a super strong reaction also to lactose stuff. I don't eat lactose, I just don't feel good with it. I get moody for 3 hours after that. Yeah, that's what I mean. I have over 10 years so much stuff I already do. Because I constantly learn and adjust, and once it's in the system I never stop doing it. So right now what I do, it works for me. I keep it clean. I don't have the gut issues, but I know a lot of people do have it. So fiber is a classic one. I think you probably seem to know quite a little bit already, Dominic. But yeah, harder run intervals. So I do, let's say, harder run in the morning. If I take a 2-hour break before, it's good. But even if I have, for example, mincemeat the night before, I don't struggle. So I think I have a pretty resilient gut. I can eat a lot if I want to, and I'm also fine with it. Only thing I have to watch out is if I eat too much too late, then my body kind of heats up and it compromises my sleep. It's probably the only thing. And yeah, outside of, I don't eat any sugars outside of training normally, unless it's like a treat or something, but otherwise I eat 0 sugars, only clean, and but calories. If it's calories are needed, then I will pop them in. Yeah. There we go. So do you use here LM22069 again? Do you use the Training Peaks metrics as like an online platform that he talks about, TTS, ATL, chronic training load? If I use them for my athletes, or which key metrics do you use? I played around with them for a year for myself and also for athletes. I think it's tricky. I don't use them. No, I don't use them. I have other metrics. We fill it all in the Excel, so I have a lot of metrics. Every morning I fill all my metrics out. I have an Excel that dates back like a year with everything from mood, sleep, weight, everything. But nothing in Training Peaks. Most of those metrics relate for Training Peaks on an accurate threshold. So if your threshold is outdated even a little bit, those metrics will change. So you need to have it manually updated in the system, latest every 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 months. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the idea is great, and I think there's for sure something to learn. If you master it, I'm sure it's a good metric, but I think it needs a lot of experimenting, so I don't use it now. Fuxil2, channel member, thank you so much. What do you think is the most common training mistake of age groupers? I was an age grouper for a long time. I still somewhat consider myself one. I think it's one big pot. It's just the pros train more and work less. That's the only difference, I believe. Otherwise, it's identical. Common most training mistake: not knowing how to improve. And that has partly to be blamed on the coach, because it's education as well. You have to kind of teach. For example, let's take running. There's so many things if you don't explain it. Let's say you build a week for an athlete in run training. The athlete only sees the threshold session and thinks, this threshold session, that's the one that's going to make me better. That's just how the mind works. This is most likely the more challenging set. This is the one that will make me better. And that is just not true. So I think you have to be well educated on what is the one that makes you better. And you have to know, number one is consistency. It's so lame and so watered down, but I don't think you execute it. You maybe know and hear it and read it everywhere, and you hear it again from me, but I don't think you execute it. Have you been 3 months training straight? I mean straight. It's not normal to miss sessions, to here and there and sick. It's not normal. It's not normal to be sick. It's not normal to be injured. In triathlon, all the people that are constantly sick and injured, they're not performing. The ones, the Mark Allens, even Chris McCormack, they have been like 10 years straight. There are no interruptions, no sicknesses. Then who else is another one? Here, Australian female world champion. She was like 10 years straight, no injuries. Yeah, anyways, so do whatever you gotta do to have a training plan that fits your life, that you can train volume and on the same level and your key sessions consistently. Try to train a bit less, but 3 months straight, you'll be on another level, another planet. It's the weather changing here, anyways. Then at KWKW, why are you opting for 2 high intensity sessions within a day? In the morning, 6 times 5 minutes VO2, and then 4 times 10 minutes. I think there should be compromised bike quarter quite a bit. What do you think? So again, you have to find a system that you get all the sessions in. I'm not going to share the whole secret on that, because that is actually from ice hockey and I don't want to share everything. Anyways, there's a lot of thought, a lot of knowledge in how I built this thing, and I tell you what I do, but not how it's all built. That still took me a long time to figure that out. Anyways, keep it simple. You have to find a way that you get all your key sessions, recovery and volume in a given week in. I found that pattern for me. That's all I'm going to say for it. Okay. Josh Haynes, what is your current key and SNC, so strength area, to work on? So for upper body, there's definitely lat pulls, pull-ups with weights that I get stronger there. There's a relation to swimming and power and speed, which I need. So that's upper body one I work at the most. And otherwise, I have basically the full body in there. Everything from Copenhagen planks to, again, everything from 10 years ago, everything, small things that I had. I just keep it in, so I have nothing. So nothing particular outside of that. I have kind of a system twice a week. I go 45 minutes and I have everything in. I had calves, always soreness issues and all that tightness issues, but I really worked on stuff in the gym there, and now I have nothing anymore after runs. Then Francesco Sanirato 117. How are you managing your nutritional intake? I myself a triathlete, I struggle reaching calorie expenditure, eating evenly throughout the day and from quality foods. That is a very good point. That's actually a really good question, maybe for most common mistakes, that they don't know how much they have to eat from the question earlier. So do the fundamentals first. I know everybody likes to talk about aero helmets and things, but do the stuff that doesn't cost anything except your own discipline, which is probably, it's easier to pull a credit card than actually say, I'm gonna watch an hour Netflix and sleep an hour more. Because unless you do the fundamentals, and there are 99% of your training performance is fundamentals, meaning stress through training, but consistently, just enough stress that you can recover, and the right stress depending how far away from the season. And then fundamentals is first sleep, then nutrition and hydration. Sleep is even one higher above that part. So if you're sleeping 6 hours, you're never going to perform. Easy as that. Same with nutritional intake. If you, without knowing, which can very easily happen, undereat by 500 to or 1,000 calories a day, you can do that for 3-4 days, but at some point you will get water retention. I had that many times. You kind of feel swollen because your body is kind of this African hunger belly, almost storage mode. And that means you're metabolically shutting down, your fat metabolism will shut down, and your metabolism doesn't work, and you can definitely not get the same training. So you gotta eat. How do you manage it? I mean, now it's a lot easier because of course I don't have to work, so I'm more flexible, but even before I pre-cooked everything. I pre-cooked for 3-4 days before when I had 80-hour work weeks, and I had all my foods with, all my snacks. So it takes, you need an extra bag and carry that crap around. So that's how you manage it. You pre-cook, it sucks, but it only sucks for, let's say, half an hour, and you can make it enjoyable. I always put some, you can put some Italian cooking music on, or whatever you want to do, or watch something next to it, so you connect a negative experience, like something you don't want to do, with something positive. Same when I clean a house now and I don't want to do it. I clean a lot of dust, especially in my bedroom. Every week we change everything, of course, sheets and de-dust, and just for sleep quality, it makes a big difference. And you just listen to a podcast and make it a positive experience, so you can train your brain a bit. Hey, I think we're actually through the questions here, I believe. I think so. Yeah, anyways, I think we're gonna cap it here. It was probably a pretty long video as well. I can't feel my hands anymore, but this is gonna be it for today. I'm coming over. Good timing, it just started raining, so I'll be checking out. I'll see you guys tomorrow for rest day number 2. There'll be some other stuff on the menu, but thanks so much for all the questions. We can do this again, like I said, every 3-4 weeks. Just pop the questions you have always, they come up in the comments, but I'll mention it again before the next time. And I see you in tomorrow's video.